Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to this webinar with me, Nabomita Mazumdar, wherein I'm going to share my story, how branding happened for me, how it worked for me. Let me share as much as I can, and of course, my messy has who made it happen for me. So yeah, let's get going. Uh, let's let's see next slide, please. Who I am. So this is who I am. I'm a grateful winner of top 100 women achiever by Ministry of Women and Child Development. This was announced, and I'm grateful that I was invited for a lunch with the President of India, Mr. President of India, last year, and it was a great experience being acknowledged for your work at that level, at the top executive level of your country, wherein obviously, it's a dream come true for citizens like us. And of course, I have also received a post-graduation degree from XLRI Jamshedpur. Why I'm saying this is, when you hear my story, you will see a lot of my life situations. Rather, a lot of my turning points came out of XLRI. So obviously, I have to mention it. Apart from every education and guidance that I've received from the great institute, I did spend almost 10 years now, more than 10 years now, building communities. Yes, I love bringing everyone together. I just love seeing everybody engage in a conversation, sharing what they love to share. And the best thing about community building is it's never about you. It's about what brings people together, a cause, a brand, a practice, or a product. It could be a number of things, and I just love doing it. I'm also grateful that I have been invited around the world, and of course I'm also a TEDx speaker. And I have received several honors, including by SHR, and definitely I'm very grateful to them. They have been acknowledging me as one of their top 20 HR influencer across the world, in India, and I have also been acknowledged as top influencer across the world, so online influencer across the world. So let's go to the next slide and see what exactly do I do. So here's what Nabomita.com is all about. Next slide, please. So Nabomita.com is essentially a platform for it's a platform for evangelism. What is evangelism? Okay, I'm sure you are motivated, inspired, and really, really focused on something other than your work that you do, other than the money that you earn, and of course, other than your education, formal education, what expects you to do. It can, for many of us, it can be cricket in India, of course. It can be even your painting, if you're into arts and if you're into arts and other creative avenues. It can also be cooking. It can also be writing. So if you are inspired about something, you become a moving, walkie-talkie ambassador for that particular area, right? So if you're interested about cricket, well, in India, most of us are. So almost all of us know everything without being a player, right? We don't play for Indian cricket team, but we almost know as much as they do. So this is unguided, unacknowledged evangelism, which is happening on a daily basis. Definitely, evangelism is not new. It may not be a very commonly used business term in India, especially, but in other countries, obviously, it's a very active term. In technological companies, definitely, it is an active part. One of the great evangelists whom I look up to is Guy Kawasaki. So yes, there are people who have been evangelists are people who are primordial in getting an idea across the board and getting people to believe in it. So that's what I made my platform all about. As you see, in today's world, allow me to read this because this has been written by somebody whom I will introduce now. But then this is what he says. In today's world, of fragmented media, if you want beyond getting attention to building relationship, we need to engage our target groups using a number of channels, both online and offline. In a multi-stakeholder business environment, the target group could mean in employees, customers, investors, both present and future. Essentially what happens is these kind of concept of broadcasting a message has been so far used by marketing, but marketing is essentially unidirectional. It's a brand talking about a product and everybody listening to it, consuming the content that they create, whereas evangelism is making your target audience talk about it. So yes, in today's world, the concept of passive audience is anachronous. With the kind of media, I mean, with the kind of media, with the kind of options that we have, essentially because of social media. Think of it. You can actually tweet to the prime minister of your country. You can actually, there are these obviously there are emails that's my government sends out, wherein you can even go and suggest a policy change. Some time back there was an active participation by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, wherein they were asking everybody to be a part of policy changes, policy formation for women. Now, yes, this is exactly what is happening. It's not anachronous. It is not unidirectional anymore. Everybody is a part of that entire information. It's not gathering anymore. It's collaborating. So obviously, this is why we build engagement through conversation rather than through broadcasting messages. That's exactly what I said. Conversation means not just a voice and an audience, but also content that lend itself to conversations. So it's like this. Earlier, you would see a brand sharing a PR content, right? And probably that content reaches the mass, I mean, their target audience. Everybody just reads it. Now it's not so. There's some kind of a content if a brand creates which doesn't ring with the audience. What happens? Audience acknowledges with probably negative or positive feedback, and then the brand has to go back and rework. We have seen it several times wherein these advertisements often go wrong, the taglines go wrong, or a billboard advertisement may go wrong, and it's the feedback from their users which makes the brand rethink, redesign, and re-implement the entire campaign all over again. So this is how the broadcasting has changed, and obviously the conversation for us, it's not a PR content from the brand, it's the conversation. What you are talking about the brand leads to more conversation. For example, you may like to go for a holiday, but then it's not the holiday that you're looking for. It's an experience that you're looking for, a memory that you're going to create. It could even be a gift for somebody. So that's where we start talking about that. What are you looking for? An experience. From your experience, we go into different conversation. Wherein what kind of an experience would you consider? So that brings into all these sub-threads, and that's how we come to a content which is relevant for you. It is not what a brand creates. It is what you create for the brand that you care about. And in the case, as in this case, most of the people today, all kinds of identity has spread across different channels of communication. While talking face to face, it's easy to coordinate between heart and mouth to communicate who we are, what we do, and what we believe. To do same in today's media, we have to understand managing identities beyond the technology platform that enables it. Now, why this is important? Because this is exactly where personal branding comes up about. It's no longer about Nike. It's no longer about Apple. You are the Apple geek. You are the Apple fanboy. So you are the brand, right? You walk into the store. You are you create that position for yourself wherein your feedback, your presence is as important as the brand. So this is exactly what I would want to share, and this was said. This entire concept was shared to me by my mentor, Dr. Mathai Fen. He has been. I'm so grateful that he has been my faculty at XLRI, and since then I had been troubling him for all the inputs that, you will see how he had gone about changing most of the important things in my life, and of course how I have learned from him. How do we do it? Well, in Nabomita.com, we identify the target group. If the brand is a technology product, we know who the users are. If it's a cause, we understand who are the people who would associate themselves with the cause. If it's just an idea, then we know who are already excited about it. So we already identify a target group, and we curate and collaborate a strong network built through them. It's entirely through collaboration, it's entirely through conversation. Then we curate a content and anchor discussions. Obviously, this is where the entire relationship, it's not just marketing, it's more of relationship building. Build a work interest group with non-competitive intimacy. And of course, there is an offline content as well, which is in-person or interactive sessions. Offline content also include think tanks. Think tanks are the places where you get people who are thought leaders or who are the change makers. You bring them together at one point of time, and they come up with all the inputs that you require, be it for policy making, be it for a brand redesigning, be it for a product placement. So that's how you take it to the next level, and this is beyond your formal team in the office. Next slide, please. So this is what we have already done. We have built a deep engagement with the target audience and stakeholders. We have been amplifying gender equality campaign, and I'm so grateful that I could volunteer for a campaign for Ministry and Child Development, which is so inspiring. I'm going to share it in the brand story that even you will be inspired. I mean, you would find some kind of a key takeaway from there, and I'm sure it can easily be your content too for your next campaign. Promoting WCD Agents of Change. Yes, if you're on Twitter, use this in Twitter or Facebook, use this hashtag and raise a cause. Go and say what matters to you. What are the changes that you would want to see? Obviously, all these contents that we receive, we collate it, and it is considered by the highest authority of your country. It is considered by the union minister herself. So think about the impact that you can generate. We connect and create community for product practices and services, as I said. We organize think tanks. We obviously we evangelize a lot of causes for women, including, just as you know, we had a Maternity Benefit Act amendment early this year, and there was quite a few discussions around it. So we did, we did collate all those responses that we were getting from women, more than women we were getting from men, who were really worried about their sisters, their wives. So they were the ones who were asking more questions than women, and it was a wonderful change to see that. So obviously, we help organization design women-friendly policies, ensure women participation at work. We promote entrepreneurship in women through e-cells in academia. Well, I would want to mention about this e-cell, which is with St. Mira's College in Pune, and they have a wonderful concept. It's not just a course that they study. They actually have an activity wherein they go and create a bazaar called Meena Bazaar, wherein every participant have to create their own product, market it, brand it, and sell it. So this is the kind of changes that we are seeing it, and this has been there since a very long time, for almost 2 decades now. So this is what we are promoting. It's not, and I'm so glad that there are so many colleges who are coming up with an active e-cell for women entrepreneurship. I'll be there in Mathura this week. I'm giving a speech at Vrindavan e-cell, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's wonderful to see women grow as entrepreneurs in this country, mentoring women across the country, and of course we also as a platform, we also help women to get back to workforce after the childbirth. Next slide, please. Few of the milestones that we have achieved, and we are grateful that we have been acknowledged. So yes, the ministry, I'm so grateful that I received that award. And yes, we have been evangelizing not just social but technical products as well. And these are core technical products into AI. So we have received, I'm so grateful we have received HDM awards by Indian HR Convention. Facilitated, we were facilitated at ASMA convention, at India Leadership Conclave by Indian Biz TV, and of course India Emerge South Summit, in India Emerge Youth Summit by VIT Vellore. So yes, all these acknowledgements are from the work that has been delivered. All these acknowledgements aren't, uh, aren't proof that probably these requirements that we are delivering are there. I mean, the requirements are there. It's not just somebody just created, and it's not just a bubble. Uh, bubble burst kind of a situation that we are waiting for. These things do matter, and I'm really grateful that we had these milestones so far. The Nabomita.com was initially created quite some time back, but we were into pilot phase. In March this year, we went live. So in 7 months, this is how we have been acknowledged, and we are very grateful for that. Obviously, the kind of readers that we get are all, are people who are really looking forward to a very serious content. I'm so grateful. When I meet my readers, they are either organization owners, CEOs, CHROs, all the decision makers. So yes, let's go and see what next. Next slide, please. Brand building. Interestingly, it's considered to be a noun, not a verb. Yes. How can it be a noun when you have to do everything about it? I mean, it will not just do anything on its own. A noun is supposed to, a noun is what? A car, a home, a tree, which stays there. But brand building is entirely about your sweat and hard work, your sweat and blood. Take my words. We'll see how it works. What is your personal brand? This is what I feel. You are what you bring to the table. Yes, you may say yourself to be a lot of things. You might be a good person, you might be a great speaker, you might be a great writer, you might be a great cook, you can even be a great a person at saving money. But then if there's something else that you are bringing it onto the table, take my word, the world is going to assume you entirely on that. You could actually be a very introvert person. You do not really open up to people, but then your job is to go and speak, right, at different places. So your brand becomes a speaker, irrespective of you being an introvert. So that's how it is. I mean, it is quite paradoxical, but that's how the entire concept of bringing to the table and your personal brand work. There is no decoupling point. Absolutely not. I have seen, I know women who work as who work in the police department, and they are really, they are very brilliant women, very tough. But as a human being, they're very soft and sweet. But as a brand, they are not assumed to be that. They're assumed to be somebody who's going to go and protect everybody in the worst of the times. So that's exactly how personal branding works. Next is the way you see and assume about us what is how you present. The problem with personal branding is you may assume a lot of things about yourself, but those things will remain passive until and unless people, they rhyme with it. Suppose, I used to feel that I'm extremely friendly, but there was a recent party, and in that part, after I returned from a party, a friend gave me advice that, you know what, you seem very withdrawn. Did you not like the company? So this is how it works. I may perceive myself as extrovert, I may perceive myself as very outgoing, I may perceive myself as extremely far-reaching and obviously a very friendly person, but that's not how others perceive me that particular evening. So just as we share over here, whereas others see it from their point of reference. So probably at that evening, in that party, everybody was expecting me to be even more even more connecting, even more active, even more talkative. But since I failed, I became a cold person. How do you brand yourself in such a dissonant style? This is a very tiny situation. The entire situation with the party is a very tiny situation. Let's consider it on a daily basis, right? Suppose you work for a large organization wherein the brand of the organization is your brand, right? For example, you may work for Google, so you are a Googler. This is a great way to be. But what if, and every Googly has a certain perception about them. I mean, the world perceives every Googly in a certain way. What if you are not that? What if you are very different from that? So, will that help you create a brand, or will that help? Will that require you to make an extra effort, take that extra mile, understand your brand, and then establish it? So, let's look at it. Next slide. Serial disruptions. Here begins my story. Okay, at Excella, right? I was at a point wherein, since I was not a good student at all, I didn't fit in. So if you're seeing a movie called Kung Fu Panda, the very first version, there was a scene wherein Po was sitting on the cherry tree, sitting near the peach tree, and he was hungry. He was very disgusted with himself because he has failed himself throughout the day. And Master Uwe walks in, and he tells Po that you are very worried about what it is and what will be. Now this is a scene that was released in a movie in 2007, but this is an exact scene which happened with me way back in 2003 at XLRI. This faculty of mine, Dr. Mathaifen, whom I just mentioned, those words that I read out, Dr. Mathaifen used to teach us organizational behavior, and he later taught us consumer behavior too. And he used to be a mentor. He used to be a person whom we could go and ask questions. So one fine day when I went and told him that, sir, I don't fit in. I think I should leave. I can't really continue here. He said the same thing. He is my master Uwe. He always tells me I am most worried about what it is and what will be. Whereas the future, I mean, we don't really know what the future has in store. Now here I share you a discussion which is in serial disruptions. Obviously, he is the master Uwe who's created serial disruptions, which took me ahead in my life. So this is a discussion that I had with him on G Talk on 13th of February 2007, wherein I'm thanking him because he has inspired me to blog. Before that, before 13th of September 2007, I had never blogged. That's where my story begins, 13th of September. The first blog was just a thought sharing blog. It did not, I was not really evangelizing anything. I was not really talking about anything. I was just making a start. And that's exactly what I wrote in my blog, that I had taken a small step and the journey just began now. Yes, I'm extremely excited, just as a kid who just got down from a giant wheel. But let's see how it goes. So he is the person why I got into blogging. Next slide. He is the same person, Dr. Mathaifen is the same person who got me to Twitter. On one fine day, he just asked me that, are you tweeting? This is 2010. I said, no, I haven't joined Twitter. So he inspired me, and in a while I started Twitter, and rest is history. So Mr. Tony, who wrote this article on the New Yorker called "You Are What You Tweet," this is exactly what I will say is, you are what you tweet only when you have a great mentor like him. So next slide, please. Those are specific events, right? Those specific events, when tiny little disruptions happen in our life, none of us notice it. When sir first asked me to blog, I did not know that one day I will build a blog, a website, right, Nabomita.com, wherein companies will pay me money to write over there, publish over there, right? So I did not know all those things. I did not know that what I am blogging is read by the policymakers, what I'm blogging is read by the top companies, the people who are running those companies. I did not know that. That's how the disruption that had happened on 2007 went and created the results. Same for Twitter. I did not realize that in fact 2010 I did not even know that there would be a concept of online influencer. Did the fact online influencer change anything for me? Being an online influencer, when I share something through Twitter, it actually creates an impact. My voice counts, and that's a huge point, because the ideas, the concept that I share, it has a depth, has a meaning to people who are following me. So it's a huge humbling moment. It's a huge responsibility as well. But then I would want to mention this. My favorite author, again, this author, I mean, it was Sir Dr. Matai when he had introduced this author to us during one of the personal branding classes at XLRI, and he asked us to read the book called In Search of Excellence. Tom is is a straight shooter. Tom Peters, if you know, he's I would say he's the father of personal branding. With In Search of Excellence, he actually, if I am to be, if we can believe Wikipedia, then Wikipedia says he's the one who started it. I don't need a Wikipedia. I know he would have started it without it. His concept of branding, his concept of putting a point across, I find him way ahead of everyone. His Tom has a website. Tom, obviously, his books are an amazing source. And beyond that, Tom is also very active on Twitter. If you are a fan of Tom Peters, go and follow him on Twitter. If you are not, I will share his Twitter handle in a while. Please do follow. Over here, let me share what one of his strong concept, BFO he calls it, blinding flash of the obvious. He says that most of the time everything is right in front of us. You know what your brand is, it's right in front of you, but you have still not done it till date. That's what BFO is all about. In this over here, Tom, I found this content from one of the document that he shared on his own site, and the document is known as Excellence No Excuses. He shares it an anecdote from a event wherein he just asked for a feedback, and there's this person who got up and he said that in 2 days of conference I didn't hear anything new, right? Come on, this is not just this person, Manigra Gashia, it's everybody. We go to, even now when you're listening to me, apart from those individual incidents, most of the content you already know, right? You know what personal branding means. You can even define it better than anybody around. You can even create a map for yourself. But those are all obvious, which is why you're blinded. So let's get into this. What he said was, he obviously he created this blind flash of obvious, and then he created 74 rules for BFO. Those rules, if you follow, they will break that entire ice, or the entire curtain that is blinding you from it. So next slide, please. This is what in 4 points I would mention. Map, right? If you want to have your own personal branding plan, then first you will need is a map. Who you are and who you want to be. Well, let's say that you can be a student, you can be a mid to senior level executive, you can even be a CEO, right? You are already there, irrespective of your education, irrespective of your social strength, irrespective of your financial status, you are already somebody. However, there is somebody else you want to be. That's your branding journey. That's what your map is all about. Once you have identified, you could be a great coder, you could be a great developer, you're working in a great company, but then there is a product that you want to build on your own, there's a company that you want to build on your own, you want to be a founder, from a coder to founder, that's your map. You can be a great orator, you are probably doing great at your PR job, but then you are extremely good in disseminating a skill to somebody who doesn't have it. You want to become a teacher. So from a PR, you are trying to be a teacher. That's your map. So that's what I would suggest. First is identify the map. Second is plan how. When you know who you are and what you want to be, it's very easy to plan how. But then the problem is the how is essentially the large points wherein you know, okay, fine, from a coder to become a founder, what you need, you just need to start working, moonlighting on your own product, and then probably you to find an investor so that you have the funds, and then you can go and start a company, you become a founder. These are just 4 points. There are fine prints. The plan needs to acknowledge every fine things. The plan is never about the headings. The plan is never about the top bullet points. The plan is about what you are missing out when you are planning for your math. Tools, what gets you there? Well, in today's world, we only talk about technology. Why? Because it's Twitter, it's social media, it's Facebook, it's LinkedIn. Beyond this, we do not realize personal branding matters. We are wrong. Tools is beyond technology. Tools are also your own skill sets that you use to create an interactive network, right? The set of influences that you use to gel people in a common thread. That's your tool. Tool is not just technology, it could be a soft skill as well. Timeline, do give yourself a timeline, because that's only how you decide when should this end, right? You can give yourself a 6 months time, a 6 years time, or a 60 years time, but decide a timeline for yourself. It doesn't matter whether you achieve it before or after that, but just put a number there. You will know how it much has helped when you review yourself each time. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my personal branding 101. Always share your success story. The world wants to be successful. The world, people who look at you, look at the success that who you are. If you're a student, they look at you at the great institution you're studying. They look at you for all that you have learned. If you're a new joinee somewhere, the world looks at you for somebody who could get a job in that company. So there is a success level at your level. If you're a CEO, obviously, irrespective of your last financial quarter, you are a CEO. The world looks up to you. So always share your success story. That's where your personal brand begins. Work out loud only after you have created a result. This is a very strong concept called work out loud. I mean, you create a blog and you start writing about everything that you're working on. It's very exciting because when you're working on something, you're geared, you have a dopamine rush, you know everything about it, you are the right person to take it. But then, the problem with it is, you may lose your credibility as you move towards the result. You may have shared too much. B, you may not be able to create the result that you had initially achieved. So in case you fail, until and unless you're prepared to manage that failure publicly as much you're sharing your work, it might be a hindrance to you. So my suggestion is, first create a result and then work backwards. Then say, how did you put things together? How did you create this company? How did you make this project work even when you did not have financial support, even when you did not have the necessary skills? How did you still do it? Don't do it before. Don't publish anything before you've created a result. Do it after that. You're a subtotal of the community you create around you. This is what personal branding means to me. I'm not me. I'm not me. Who am I? Nothing. It's just a name that my parents decided for me. It's an education which an esteemed institute gave it to me. It's all those companies that I work with. So I'm not me. I am the group of people who decided the name. I am those institutions who gave me that education. I am those experiences that I gained from those organizations. So I am a community of everybody around me. That community creates me. That community defines me. Obviously, I may create it. Many of us go and select people as friends. Many of us can select their even their co-workers, their peers. Even if we do not, those people around us whom we interact, whom we have a connection, whom we are anchored in terms of exchanging ideas, exchanging thoughts, or even discussions or any conversation, there we are building a community. So obviously, I feel that and empathize with the solution. Okay, for blogging, I prefer to write a lot of solutions, right? I'm really grateful that people write to me with their problems. HR problems, management problems, leadership problems, how to run a company, legal problems. I'm really grateful they do. And since they do, what I do is I write a solution, and if only they allow me to, with their permission, I publish it. So most of us generally create a huge empathy towards everybody, and they definitely try to fix a problem. But I do not know whether I absolutely fix every problem around me or not. But definitely, that's how my empathy is. I would offer the best solution that I can. Rest is for the people who receive it. Context rules. People say it's all about content. Blogging is all about content. Social media is all about content. Yes and no. When you have created a content, if the content doesn't rhyme in with your audience, your content fails. If your content is not deeply anchored on your target audience, there's no point in creating that. So I would suggest it's the context which your audience would use to connect with the content is what you need to care about, and your brand is what people assume it to be. It's not what you are building, resulting in how they evaluate and treat you. So obviously, many of us can just go and spend a lot of money on sudden PR, right? We can go and create a lot of media around who we are, but will that build our brand? Obviously, that is creating content, that is creating a huge amount of recognition, because such media houses are acknowledging your existence. But then, at the end of the day, even after reading all those articles in great magazines that you're going to get published, or your interviews on the TV, people will assume what they want to assume, and that assumption will decide how they treat you, and that's your brand. So it's tricky, but that's exactly how fluid it is. Next slide, please. Let me talk about a brand story. This is a campaign which Ministry of Women and Child Development had started in March this year. This was a campaign wherein obviously it was called #We Are Equal, and the campaign actually required men. We always have women talking about equality, women claiming for their own rights, women claiming for higher pay, equal pay, same salary. So all those things are always by women, which is why the ministry with this campaign changed the game. They asked men to show why do they feel they are equal. And it was beautiful. I mean, there were men from remote places in MP sharing that, tweeting with this hashtag saying that I wash my utensils at home with my wife and make my kids watch it. Right? Very sweet of him. I mean, it's a very tiny incident. Probably nobody even realized what it means, but think of the impact that it has on the kids. So the entire responsibility sharing, the entire respect and serving, that man has done it with such a simple way at his home right there. So we had men across India sharing all these thoughts, and I'm so grateful that the dignitaries in the ministry allowed me to volunteer. And when we volunteered, we reached out to different communities, we reached out to different companies, we also reached out to individuals, wherein we were trying. We are really grateful that we had a huge collaboration. We had everybody participating, sharing why do they think they are equal. So next slide. This is one of the tweet which the ministry, I'm so grateful, had shared it. And in this tweet, if you can see, there's a gentleman and there's a lady who was holding a board sharing why do they think they are equal. So it's for me, this is evangelism, wherein your target audience comes up and they share they co-create the content for you. It's not your content. It's just a cause. It's just a thought that you shared with them. The cause brought them together. The cause engaged them, and that's where you have the real evangelism happening. I'm so grateful to these communities of startup startup community who participated in it with full, Bhavish Kothari, who, and of course the SME. So, and next slide, please. Next, let me share something about this technology product now. Um, we are in the age wherein bots are ruling, right? We have an AI products everywhere for everything. Again, this is a great branding story because I saw this product called Smelt, and it's a AI product for small salt dispenser. We need AI to tell us how much of a salt should go with our dal or chawal, with our pasta or our risotto. So yes, we do need AI for all these things. But then there are other areas that we are using AI. There are serious areas wherein we are using AI to create better processes, to create better result for ourselves. It's not a technology that we are using. It's actually a huge, very strong concept. Think of it. Let me share Air CTO. It's an AI chatbot, HR chatbot, which allows the hiring team to hire people. Right? Suppose during hiring, what happens? You have a huge hiring team calling everybody every day, asking a lot of questions, screening them, and then calling them for the interview. Now, these are repetitive tasks. These tasks are quite capable of including human error, because there could be personal biases that could come in, and you never know when the entire in-depth questions have completely been asked or not. So this product, this chatbot, AI chatbot, they have a series of questions. When once a hiring team selects this product, starts working with starts implementing Air CTO in their process, what happens is the AI chatbot calls the candidate. The AI chatbot has the entire conversation with the candidate without the candidate trying to mess up any process, because there's a strong process flow which can easily be changed in a human at a human interaction. Because this is AI, it cannot be. It follows the process to the complete level, and then you have the entire screening done, and you have the candidate, if the candidate qualifies or not. Now, what does this say? It's a concept, right? It's actually a concept wherein you do not have the menial repetitive task being done by a human being who's capable of higher deliveries. You have a bot delivering what human beings would otherwise have, but then in a far better way, in a far efficient and time-saving manner. So this is actually a requirement which has now been branded under the requirements of the world moving into a AI generation, into a bot generation. However, at the same point of time, making a better world. So next slide, please. Since we talked about AI and since we talked about bots, this is exactly where we are. Earlier this year, there was this article on Live Mint which shared that out of 4 people working in Maruti manufacturing plant in Manesar, 1 is robot. So you already have a robot taking away somebody's job, and obviously doing it far better because it's a robot. It doesn't need to take as many human breaks as a human being would. And of course, we have driverless cars. So a car is being built by a robot, driven by a robot. Now all we need is a robot to come and buy the car for us so that we can ride it for free. But then jokes apart, how do we manage our personal branding where in the age of bots? In the age, for example, let's go back to the situation which we just discussed. The hirer, the recruiter, who used to call probably 100 people a day and actually have a lot of branding from that, right? Now that task has gone to a bot. So what does the recruiter is now doing? They are doing higher level interaction. They are no longer calling 100 people a day. They are probably screening for the next higher technical levels. So the entire work has changed. The entire profile has changed. How does this affect personal branding? First and foremost, in the age of bots, personal branding is all the more human. Yes, obviously it requires you to be highly efficient. Personal branding will require you to master all these technologies. However, since the menial tasks are gone, you sending 100 messages to 10 people every day are no longer there. You are actually creating one message where you are actually interacting with one person, probably face to face, probably a lot more human manner, creating a higher impact. So that's where the entire personal branding has a different focus in the age of AI. The entire personal branding, I mean, for me, it's going to be far more specialized, far more. I mean, today, almost, I mean, if you see that there's this research by Adobe, wherein they says that almost 72 to 76% of people wants to use AI at work. So if 72%, I mean, the lion's share of people are already using AI at work, or wanting to use AI at work, they have to work their entire personal branding as well, their entire strategy as well. Next slide, please. In this age wherein you have to rethink, right? Your entire profile is changing. Your technology mastery is required to change. It mostly depends on not what you are creating, not what you are saying, but what you are listening. I had this tweet by Tom Peters, wherein he says that he loved the concept of Toastmasters for listening. Toastmaster, we know, is generally for speaking, and I tweeted and he agreed to it, that listening more than speaking. The problem with listening is, we think, just as now, you think you're listening to me. If you're watching this webinar, you're listening to me. But there are a lot of mental chatters which is happening. Probably you have, if you're sitting in your office, you have parked your car on the road and there's a sudden thought that, okay, did I park it right? Did I park it under the tree? So there are mental chatters running into your brain throughout the day. You do not know what you're listening to until unless you start listening to what you are listening. Do not just depend on the number of podcasts that you are listening to yourself to upgrade yourself. Do not just wait on the number of songs that you're listening to make yourself feel good. Check what you're listening when you have not planned what you're going to listen. When you're working quietly at office, who did you just hear? Did you hear just somebody talk? Did you hear just somebody walk away? Check that. Because that will decide what is your intake in terms of information. That will decide what you create, even even subconsciously, as your brand. Next slide, please. So, as I shared earlier, Tom Peters, he wrote about this me incorporation when he declared that everybody is the CEO to their incorporation, and obviously BA4 is the blinding flash of the oblivious that he shared, and this is the 29th rule, wherein he stresses on radical personal development. He doesn't talk about incrementalism. He talks about radical change, something that you've changed so much that people start noticing the next day. That's what he's talking about. That's what you need. That's the kind of investment that you need for your personal branding. Next slide, please. So let's get into the game plan. You know, you have to build a plan. We discussed that. You have to identify a map, you have to get a plan. You know your tools are not just technology, but your soft skill and your intelligence too. And you also have to have a timeline. So what is your game plan? The game plan is as simple as that. I mean, this is a quote by Tom Peters from Excellence No Excuses, that you do not achieve mastery during the game or speech or the concert. Mastery is achieved only in the preparation stage. So this is where your brand lies. Your brand is not the only moment you are in front of a television channel, or it's not the only moment you are under the limelight. Your brand is what gets you there. Your brand is what your limelight is going to be all about. That's your brand. That's where you need to work throughout the year, throughout your life. That's what will define your personal brand. One of these quotes that I'm so grateful, I was quoted on Thought Catalog, and this quote is stay focused on your effort and everything will remain a natural result. This was told to me during one of my mentoring session by Mr. Kishore Bhave. He lives in Pune. He is a, he's a great person. He's mentored many like me, and he's also he's also a super, super respected person for in terms of HR. He had worked in very big companies, managed very serious HR problems. Even now he's working. So he just said this very easily, that just stay focused on your effort. Just what I said earlier. What you bring to the table is your brand. What you're doing is your brand. Just everything. If you're doing what you're doing way too well, everything else will remain a natural result. When I started blogging, I did not know I would be invited by Bloggerati to take this, for this webinar today. I did not know my blogs would be so important that policymakers or companies or CEOs would read it. I never knew that. I never knew that the blog that I was, the first day, 13 September 2007, I did not know somebody would pay me to blog. Wow. So that's exactly. Last slide before we take any question. These two people are masihas for me when it comes to branding. Obviously, Tom Peters is the person whom I have been quoting all through. That's his Twitter handle. Go follow him on Twitter. Talk to him. He's extremely engaging even with his tweets. Whatever he says is something that will go on and on in different threads by different people from around the world. Learn it from him. See how conversation works. See how, obviously, when we talk about communities, the first thing that everybody thinks of is a gated community, right? The name of my community is this, so I will call every member as, I give a name to them. But then Tom Peters has an ungated community on Twitter, which I extremely, find it inspiring. And he doesn't need, he doesn't need to name everybody. It's his work that gels people in. It's his thoughts that engage everybody in. It's the conversation which is the content. So it's the co-creation, collaboration, which is the personal brand. And Dr. Mathaifan, Master Rugbe, as I said earlier, he's the person who pushed me to blog, who inspired me to blog, who inspired me to tweet, and there are at least 100 of other things that he asked me to, but like any bad student under the sun, I don't do them. These are just two things I heard, and here I am. So at this point, I would like to take questions. Let's look into it. Oh, wow. So many questions. I'm really grateful. Okay. Let me quickly take first question. Hi Suraj, thank you so much for being here. What your question is, what is the alternative to branding for small business? Do I have to worry about competitors in the beginning? Suraj, first and foremost, forget what you are building. Forget everything. Stay focused. If you think of your competitor, you are taking your focus away. There could be 10 different people making the same product that you are making, but they do not matter because what you are making is unique. Until unless you are focused on it, you won't believe in it, you won't create any MVP or any unique proposition out of it. Once you have an USP, only then you can go ahead and create a brand around it. So first and foremost, obviously as a small business, I think just as individuals, small businesses has a huge opportunity for branding. You know why? Because the losses would be small. Yes. Suppose if you shoot a message, you're broadcasting a message to your audience and it doesn't go right? But this is just before your product placement. So you could quickly identify it. You could quickly go and change those changes. Implement those changes in the product, and then you could bring the product exactly as owned by your target audience. So as a small business, you actually have an edge over the larger ones. You're nimble foot. Always remember, individuals and small businesses are nimble foot. It's very easy for them to change anything last moment, unlike the bigger brands or bigger companies. So then I would suggest, do not look for alternatives. Stay focused on what you are building, what you are doing. believe in it. And of course, if you need further guidance, you know where to find me. My email ID is nabomita@nabomita.com. Write to me or tweet to me. I will share all my coordinates. So definitely get in touch if you want to know more. Let's take some other content too. Okay, how different is your blog content to Twitter content? Should we keep the same? Uh, Suraj, let me first identify two different things for you. One is blog and the other is Twitter. To me, in my own term, blog is home. Twitter is where you go to broadcast it. Blog is where you are launching your idea. Twitter is where you are sharing it with people whom you know would believe in it. Have a blog, have a Twitter presence, very strong Twitter presence, but make sure blog is what you share, Twitter is what everybody is sharing, and you are talking to them about it. I would suggest that I see most of the companies tweeting only what they are creating. Do not make that mistake. Create uh, create conversations around what your target audience really want. I mean, think of it. If a brand can come and talk to the people, talk to the users on the areas of their interest, how interesting would it be? I mean, for example, if we, I mean, right now I can't recall a brand who actually actively does that, but yeah, I would suggest, why don't you start it? Create content around the target audience, engage the discussions, also share the content that they are sharing, talk to them to why they are sharing it. Once you have engaged them, then probably you share the content from your blog or your website or your marketing team. That's the point. You place your content, not before. Create an engagement first. Create a community first. Um, Gareth, hi Gareth. Does blogging need full-time attention to become a potential personal brand? Gareth, blogging is a long-term activity, very long-term activity. Be prepared for a long run, for a very long race, right? It's not sprint. Obviously, you can go on blogging every day. It's very good to blog every day, but if only you can keep up with it. Or else, decide a duration within which you will blog and schedule your content during that, so that you have a regularity. Regularity is good because that way everybody knows when the content is going to come to them. But your audience will know. It's almost like the television series that we watch. But other than that, I would also suggest you, if you can create some surprise content, right? Uh, be I mean, be really creative. Be engaged in creating it. Don't just write about a blog. Don't just sit and write about AI because AI sells. Don't just write about managing money just because it has a huge SEO. Write about something you believe in and create your own regularity around it. Rahul, hi Rahul. How did you begin the process of strategizing in the beginning, considering this first step? This is the first step. Rahul, honestly, initially when I started, I had too many ideas, just as I wrote in my first blog, that I had too many ideas, and just as a kid, I wanted to try all of them, but as life would take it, not I could try all of them, but then uh, it took its own turn, right? And I'm glad I went on with the flow. That became my strategy. Not that I did not have any plan, not that I did not have a strategy. Yes, I had a vision. Obviously, the first blog, when I published it and I shared it with Matai sir, with my mentor, I was really expecting a lot of acknowledgement, a lot of inspiration, a lot of a lot of accolades around it. But I never knew that I would reach here one day. So strategy is important, a plan is important, but at the same point of time, learn to go with the flow. Suppose you are at a full-time job and you still want to consider blogging full-time, right? How do you do it? You still want to become a blogger of repute. How do you do it? Decide it for yourself. Do you want to take a year, a 2-year, a 3-year platform, or do you just want to become it in 6 months? How do you want to do it? Um, mm, we are getting more questions. I just want to take a look. Okay, Suraj, what is one value that your brand promises to deliver to the consumer. Okay, one value that my brand or Nabomita.com promises is an opportunity to engage. That's it, right? As a company, you have your broadcasting channels too strong. Obviously, you can go and spend tons of money in PR. You can go and spend a lot of money in marketing. But then, if you're reaching out to me, I would look forward to create an engagement with your target audience. That's my offering. How did you make Suraj? Okay, so hi Suraj. How did you make Nabomita.com come to life across a broad spectrum of media? Uh, Suraj, this went gradually. Initially, it was just a blog. Eventually, as you saw, in 2010, when my faculty, my mentor, he asked me to join Twitter. Twitter happened. So as I said, I did not actually strategize. I went on with the flow. Each time I saw a strong option for readership, I went and I joined it. Recently, I joined a platform called BB, and which is BEBEE, and it is a similar platform to LinkedIn blogging, LinkedIn Pulse, and it has a huge readership. I mean, I get in fact I get high number of readers in BB than LinkedIn. So I can continuously look out for all these areas. It's not just one or two channels of media that I look out. It's multiple. Okay, we are almost there, and time has almost ended. Let me just show my last slide to you so that even if we are running out of time, you know how to reach out to me. These are my coordinates. My Twitter handle is Nabomita_smiles. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. These are the main areas I know you will. There are probably more domains I'm there, but until unless I know you are there, there's no point in sharing. So do join me in here to continue this conversation further. If you have questions on branding, your product, your idea, or creating a stronger brand blog around your company, do reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me. And of course, do join Bloggerati for more webinars and more informations like this. I'm looking forward to interact with you here, and I'm really grateful to Win Chang for this amazing initiative wherein they are creating an engaging community through this. So thank you so much. Have a nice day and very good evening. Thank you.